Welcome everyone, I am the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Labyrinth of Touhou 2. A translation patch finally came out for this, or at least finally a complete one supposedly. And I've done a little bit of testing with it and played through a few floors. And it seems to be working. It has a little bit of some word wrapping issues, and there's a few misspellings. But for the most part, it's well done. And I definitely have no complaints. So yes, this is Labyrinth of Touhou 2, the sequel to Labyrinth of Touhou. As far as I can tell from the story, it's completely separate. There's no references to the original story, or at least as far as the story of this game is about. Besides that, they've done a lot of changes with this game compared to the first one, and if anyone has actually paid attention to my channel, this is like one of the first major RPG Let's Plays I did, and it was one of the first times I started reading text, and I was horrible at it, and I had a horrible mic, and all sorts of good, awesome things. And now we get to try this game out. I'm going to be going at this mostly blind. I did the first couple of floors off-screen, of course, yeah, off-screen. And there's some things I'm still trying to figure out. There is a wiki up for this, but it's not as complete as the first Touhou game, Labyrinth game. It's missing a few things like the actual algorithms for the damage of various skills. Most of them will just tell you if it's physical or magical, and that's about it. So unfortunately, I won't know how strong some of the moves are. With the exception of previous experience from the previous game, there is some stuff that carried over, but some stuff has been changed, and there's a lot of new stuff. So let's go ahead and get this started. There's going to be a long intro, so let's go with it. Gensokyo, Human Village, Main Street. It's currently 9 in the morning. It's usually around this time that the people are the most busy, and the village gets more and more active, but lately this place has felt really empty. Isn't this supposed to be the main street? I think everyone is too scared to leave their house. Oh well, it's fine, right? We can just eat dumplings while sitting on the storefront since there's so few people. Yeah, since we're a bit early for the meeting time, we can do that while waiting. The dumplings they make here are really delicious. I know, right? So we should eat them quickly before the others get here. The meeting point was a dumpling shop facing the village's main street, and so the two girls ate without a care in the world as they waited for the others. The rainy season was at its end, and the blistering heat was flickering as the early summer season began, yet this main street was bereft of residents and their liveliness. The whole village was wrapped in a chilling atmosphere unbefitting of the current season. That atmosphere is fine with me, better than the heat at least. Yeah, this summer looks like it's going to be pretty cool this year. I won't have to cool myself at Corn's place. You treat your house like a storeroom and barely give it any ventilation. That's why it's so hot in there, even though the forest it's in helps block the sun's rays. Yeah, something like that could be bad. But it's refreshing. It's cool and peaceful. Peace is good, everybody says so. Does this village really look peaceful to you? Oh, hello Keen. There's still some time before our appointment. Look at that, nothing else could scream incident more than that. It's frightening everyone. You need to do something about it quickly. An incident? What do you mean? I can't see anything at all. Anyway, one more dumpling please. Of course you're not going to see it while your eyes are glued to the food down there. Look up and tell me again you cannot see it. No thanks, I'm fine. The dumplings I have in my mouth might get stuck in my throat. Just shut up and look. Guh? He grabbed Marisa's dumpling-stuffed face and forced her to look up. With her face forcefully lift up, Marisa could see an out-of-this-world massive tree, calmly rooted in the distance. An outlandish, towering tree was piercing through the clouds, its leaves and branches growing outward in order to create a maze of levels. The giant tree's size was so ridiculous that anyone who raised their head even slightly couldn't help but see it. The tree had suddenly appeared in Gensokyo about 3 days ago. It appeared suddenly in the Forest of Magic with no clues as to the cause. Even now, it continues to grow slowly but surely, obscuring the daylight to Gensokyo and creating an ever-growing curtain of darkness. Do you see it now? I got it already, thank you very much. A big tree like that isn't something to laugh at, but hey, when Looking at something that big, you really can't help thinking about human life, right? You aren't even bothered by it. It would be fine if it just disappeared in a day or two, but it is not likely something that massive will simply disappear if we leave it alone. The villagers are starting to get frightened by that tree. Furthermore, such a large obstacle to the light will eventually have a detrimental effect on the hearts of the yokai living in the village. Don't you agree? It's also bad for the growth of the plants. In fact, a portion of the crops and flowers that were planted in the fields in the village's outskirts have already begun to wither away. It is not difficult to imagine that if we leave the tree alone, things are only going to get worse. Ain't it good though? We get a cool and sunlight-free summer in return, and you can take the opportunity to mass-produce bean sprouts. This girl. This little village music is a little loud, so I apologize if you're having trouble hearing me. The warrior Hakutaku, who set up an elementary school in the human village, took anything that would threaten its peace very seriously. And so, Keen raged on about how we are going to find the cause of the great tree today, and Reimu and Marisa were forcefully dragged into it. Well, I was saying to myself that it's about time to investigate the great tree. The timing is perfect, I would say. Is that so? Reimu, haven't you been poking your nose into the thieving uproar that happened at Koran's place recently? Are you done with that already? Of course not. There's no way we can leave something as ridiculous as the Ame no Murokumo being stolen alone, don't you agree? But no matter how I looked and searched for the criminal, they didn't leave a single trace. Wait a minute, what are you talking about? Let me see. Correndo, was it? A thief broke into the antique store. What is that in the Ame no Murokumo about? This is all news to me. I should probably give an explanation for that. Rinazuki Morichika, a half-human, half-yokai hybrid who runs an antique shop located at the border of the Forest of Magic. He was the last of the four for this meeting. Oh my, Rinazuki, you're pretty late. The last to show up, in fact. No, I'm right on time. One should be neither too early nor too late for any appointment. Being late is obviously out of the question, while being early makes the other person worry too much about whether they should have came early too. Yes, your opinions really matter to us. So, what were you saying about our thief? It is, as they say, a thief broke into my shop. As you may know, my shop sells items that came from the outside world. There are also some other small and rare articles that are not for sale and that I keep for my personal collection. The value of the Ame no Murokumo that was stolen around a week ago really stood out from the rest. The great tree grew just a few days ago, and the theft happened a bit before that. Well, we don't know that Rinazuki had such a thing in his possession, and if it is true, there's no way we can leave such an artifact alone. Ame no Murokumo, huh? Wait, the Ame no Murokumo? No, wait a minute. Are you sure it's the authentic one? This isn't the time to talk about its value. This is the most famous and powerful sword in Japanese lore. Most of all, how are you able to get an artifact like that? It's the first time I've heard about a relic like this being in Gensokyo. Wasn't this heirloom enshrined in worship somewhere in the outside world? Oh, King didn't know about it after all. Me too. I'm really interested to hear about how you found that sort of thing, Koran. Trade secrets? I can't possibly say where I found it, especially not to Marisa, since I kind of tricked her into giving it to me. Well, no, it's not really really tricking Marisa, since she didn't know it was the Ame no Murokumo. In the first place, I'm the one who wants to know where she discovered that. Once in a while, her hobby of accumulating trash pulls up some unbelievable treasures. That's how I'm able to get it off her hands for dirt cheap. Well, whether or not that sword is the genuine Ame no Murokumo handed down from ancient times, it was definitely made of pure scarlet gold, and it was undoubtedly an extremely powerful sword. Of that, I am certain. After hearing that story, I started looking for the Ame no Murokumo and its thief. But up till now, the culprit remains at large. I see. While you were searching for your thief, that great tree sprouted forth and caused an even bigger uproar. That's how it is. Incidentally, Reimu also mentioned that she had a feeling that the culprit was in that great tree. Really? Well, Reimu's intuition is generally right these times. Well, we can't leave that tree alone anyway, right? So figured, since Keen was being annoying enough to call this meeting as well, that it was time to investigate that great tree and kill two birds with one stone. And that's how we decided to include Koran in our exploration of that great tree. After all, it's his fault for keeping quiet about the sword and not securing it well enough. It's clearly the thief who's at fault. I'm the victim here, and really, I'm not even suited for fighting. I'm certainly expecting nothing from you in battle, but there's strength in numbers when wandering in a big tree like that, don't you think? So in short, he's making up the numbers. You don't have to declare that to everyone, you beast. Ugh. I don't want to go. And so let's all give this our best. Onwards and upwards. Oh. By the way, the version of this is 1.203, I think. Since version 1.140, you can start a game on hard mode difficulty. In hard mode, at the Magic Library, characters and parameters can be raised above their level times 1.2. And your party's average level cannot be higher than that of the boss you're fighting. Okay. Additionally, once you defeat the last boss, the restrictions of the difficulties will be removed. Do you want to start the game in hard mode? I honestly don't have much interest in starting the game in hard mode. Essentially what hard mode does is it prevents you from being higher level than the bosses, which is actually kind of nice, because it's very easy. This game you can grind as much as you want, and you can easily overlevel bosses and just make them trivial. Hard mode is a way of preventing that. You can also do the same thing with skill points, or skill levels and stat levels. You can easily increase, and that's putting a cap on that as well. But I'm just gonna go on normal mode. I will be fighting the bosses at their expected level, which I'll explain more as we go into this game. So I'm gonna be in normal mode. Alright, so here we are. We start out with Reimu, Marisa, Rinazuki, and Keen. Give me one moment. I'm gonna go ahead and check my volumes to make sure you guys can hear my explanations while we're in this village. Actually, yeah, that'll work. Be right back. Okay, it wasn't too bad, but I went ahead and dropped it down a smidge, just so it's you guys can hear me a little bit better. Anyway, so in this game you start out with only 4 characters, not 5. You start out with Reimu, Marisa, Rinazuki, and Keen. I'll go ahead and briefly go over their stuff. As you can see, the menus have been changed. It even keeps track of your average level. This game's actually done a lot of extra stuff that really is a lot of convenience things that you don't even see in a lot of RPGs, which I could definitely respect. So instead of gushing over the game, let's go ahead and go over what we have. So there's a little bit of changes to the stats. There is an evasion stat in this game, just like in the first Labyrinth of Touhou. In this game, it actually works. Your attacks can miss, including your spells. Your spells can miss. As far as anything else, most of it's pretty straightforward. The only new addition is there's more status effects, which means there's more resistances to status effects that you need to take into account. And then as far as affinities, which are ways of, essentially elemental resistances, they've included physical affinity in this game, which means you can be resistant to physical damage, which is pretty awesome when you want to be very tanky. It also means you can make the characters very squishy against physical attacks. So that's about it. The stats are practically the same. They do all the things from the previous game, but I'll go ahead and explain them anyway. Attack is for physical attack, magic is for magical attack, speed is how quickly you get your actions, defense is for physical defense, mind is magical defense, evasion is evasion, health is health. MP is what you use for spells. TP is essentially stamina, which you expend stamina after every combat. It's also used for certain special skills, which I'll get into later. And if your stamina ever hits 0 while you're exploring a dungeon, your character will immediately leave the party and you have to go out of the dungeon and re-pick them up in order to get them back. So this is a way that forces you to go back into the okay, for a second there I thought I was stuck. What was I saying? So yeah, that's a way of forcing you to come back into town, essentially. There's also MP recovery rate, which is practically the exact same thing as it was in Labyrinth of Touhou. It's how quickly you recover MP while you're not in while you're in the back row. Also, you recover double that whenever you use the concentrate command while you're in the front row. There's also HP recovery rate, which influences how quickly you recover health while you're in the back row. So that actually has a number now. Alright, The status levels over there is just how much what your skill points are in. In this game, instead of skill points, you actually have money, and you use money to buy status levels. You can also use it to buy items, and that's about it. As far as the status effects, there's still poison, paralysis, instant death, silence. There's also the stat debuffs. The 3 new things that have been added is heavy, shock, and terror. Terror does something a little bit different. Against us, what it does is every time you take an action, you're going to lose MP. So it drains MP gradually. Against monsters, they get a stat debuff. It also can influence certain characters' abilities. Shock is essentially a status effect that's essentially what Youkai did in Labyrinth of Touhou 1, which is it influences your ability to, if you get inflicted with shock, your ATB bar gets halved, and that's it. And then the status effect goes away. So it's pretty powerful if it hits you, because it essentially delays your actions. And then there's heavy, which I don't remember off the top of my head what it does. I haven't been hit with it yet. I believe what it does is it prevents you from being swapped out. As far as what it does to a monster, I think it slows them down a little bit, but I cannot confirm that yet, because that will require me to open the wiki. Alright, actually, the game actually gives you a convenient thing here, see? So I can pull this up. Heavy. When an ally is afflicted by heavy, they can no longer be switched out to the back lines. When an enemy is afflicted with heavy, their speed is somewhat reduced. Terror, yeah. So it did exactly that. Okay, and silence. It can actually affect monsters in this game. When they're afflicted with silence, their magic and mind are reduced. That's about it. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and briefly go over the characters we have. We have Reimu, Hakurei. She's pretty much the same as she was in, that's gonna be difficult to explain. She's exactly the same as she was in the previous game for the most part. She doesn't have as many abilities. She has 4 abilities instead of 5. But for the most part, she's exactly the same. For the most part, she's not as good as she was in Labyrinth of Touhou 1, but that's simply because the characters in this game are a little bit more balanced. So it's not like she got worse, it's just everyone else kind of got better. So I'll go ahead and... The spells she has are off to the right there. The Yin Yang Orb, Fantasy Seal, Exercising Border, and Great Hakurei Barrier. They're practically almost all the same. Fantasy Seal is a big spirit attack that hits all targets. Yin Yang Orb is a single target spirit attack that can cause paralysis. Exercising Border gives is a front row heal, and Great Hakurei Barrier is a front row buff of defense and mind. So it's pretty much the same. She doesn't have the AoE, she doesn't have the lines paralysis anymore. Off to the left here, you can see things like HP boost and MP boost. These are like passive skills that characters can learn. You actually get skill points in this game, and these skill points are actually used for these things. You can either level up passives, or you can use it to level up your actual spell cards. Like you can see that Yin Yang Orb is level 1. You can actually get that up to level 2, and so forth. Alright, so enough of that explaining. So Reimu is pretty much a buffer healer, as what she usually is. You can try to make her a spirit caster, but usually that's not what you usually do with Reimu. Marisa is practically exactly the same. She is our spell nuker. Whoa, holy crap. There's a lot of stuff here. Wow, I've never seen this page before. Yeah, there's still a lot of things to take account to this. Anyway, so Marisa has Magic Missile, Asteroid Belt, just like before. I think she's missing 1 nuke, but that's about it. Magic Missile single target, Asteroid Belt is multi-target. Master Spark is just like it was in the previous game. It is a big spell that drains all your MP to do more damage. And Concentrate is a self-buff that increases your magic attack. All of our spells are Mystic Element, which can be a good and bad thing. Renezuki has changed greatly compared to what he was in the previous game. In the previous game, he was kind of a super tank type thing, with very limited options. In this game, he's not really much of a tank and still has limited options. He's essentially a big squishy guy that you really only take him along for his passives for the most part. He has 2 spells. He has First Aid, which is a weak heal, and then he has Battle Command, which is a single target buffs all stats a little bit. For the most part, I'm not going to be using Rinazuki. In fact, I'll be dropping him probably as soon as I can. He is good to have in your back row, simply because he has passives that increase your chance of getting drops and the amount of money you get per combat, which is at his passive skills. That's about it. He's at least a little bit tankier than Marisa and Reimu, so he'll probably be in the front for a little bit. And then we have Keen. Keen is practically the same. Something's not right. Oh, I see. Okay. She has 4 spells, but her first spell is all the way in the bottom of the first column. So ancient history, old history, new history, that etc. Anyway, so she essentially has the same abilities as before. She has a AoE Dark Nuke that it's magic damage, but it's affected by defense, which is kind of unique. New History is an AoE Spirit attack that's just a normal magic attack. And then 3 Treasures Sword increases both attack and magic for the entire front row, and 3 Treasures Mirror increases the defense and mind of the entire front row. So Keen's actually a lot more versatile now, because her buffs do a lot more. Originally, in the original game, she had 3 buffs, but they all did like very specific stats. In this one, they actually do both stats. So she's a very reliable buffer. This also means we already have a character that can buff attack, which is not something we usually get in the start of Labyrinth of Touhou. Besides that, she's kind of tanky. You can kind of use her as an off tank or 3rd slot tank, just so she can just stay out and, you know, buff up and stuff. And that's our party. That's all we have. As you can see, we have this section called Learn Skills. We do start out with 3 skill points we can spend. I'm not going to be spending any of them just yet, because I'm going to be leveling up certain things. But yeah, you can learn things that just give you stat increases. There's things like increase the amount of experience you have while you're in the front row, increase the amount of experience you have while you're in the back row. You got things like if your party members start dying, you get a buff. Some of these are very specific to certain characters. Some of them are synergies with other characters. For example, Alice Cannon is an effect that will increase Marisa's speed if Alice is in the back row, which is kind of interesting. And I'm not going to go over all of them. There's a lot. And then you can also level up each of the individual spell cards they have, which will generally increase the amount of damage or buffing they do. Some spells will actually have a secondary effect if you level them up, like adding a status effect or improving the chances of that status effect triggering. And yeah, that's about it for all of that. As far as equipment, this game has 3 sub-slots and 1 main slot. Main slots are generally kind of big pieces of gear you don't see very often, and then the sub-slots are things that you've generally seen in the previous game, like just basic stat increases and pretty much all the items you saw in Labyrinth of Touhou 1. Alright, I think that takes care of all of that. Now let's go ahead and deal with all the dialogue. Aha, with a tree that big, I was worried that its root or leaves might trash up the shrine. Seems like there wasn't much to worry about, though. The donation box is empty as always, too. Nothing out of the ordinary at all. Well, when this kind of abnormal situation happens, donating to the shrine is hardly high on anyone's list of immediate priorities. Really? Is that really the only reason? What are you trying to say? Nothing, really. Anyways, why are we here at the shrine? Do we have something to do here? No, there's not really anything to do here at the moment. We should just come back after we exterminate monsters within that tree and accumulate experience. Then we can level up and distribute bonus points obtained from leveling up towards any parameter we want here. Also, if we want to use any special items we find within the tree on a character, here's where we do it. But that's for later. For now, just think of the shrine as a place for level ups and bonus point distribution. Why? Thank you so much for the explanations. Well, I'm a main character. It's expected for me to do this. So what? I'm a main character too. Ahem. Shall we stop this line of conversation? Alright. So just like before, Hakurei Shrine is where you level up characters. They got some convenient things like leveling up everyone at once, so you don't have to go one by one. Level up bonus, even though you can level up everyone at the same time, you still have to do the level up bonuses separately. This thing about level up bonuses though, is, I can't really show it right now, but you can actually redistribute your points anytime you want. So I can be like, okay, I leveled up, I put a point into mind, which will give you like a little boost in that stat. And later on I'm like, okay, I really don't think that was a good idea. I can take a point out of mind and immediately put it into something else. No problems. I literally just have to hit, all I have to do is go to level up bonuses and I can redistribute the points however I want. Use special items. There are special items in this game that, special items will have things like quest items, but it'll also have things that will give you permanent boost in the stat. There's a limit of how many a stat boost can be done on a character, but that's pretty much it. There's also an item that gives you additional skill points, which is awesome. You can also level down characters in this game. The way leveling down works, there are boss fights in this game, and this game actually keeps track. Well, each boss fight actually has a level requirement, and if you are that level or lower, you actually get a bigger reward for beating that boss. So I'll be doing all the boss fights at least equal level, if not lower. So if you're ever in a situation where you ran into a boss you missed, and it's like lower level, all you have to do is come back here, go to level down, and you can level down your characters, which will lower your stats, but you don't have to worry about redistributing any points or refunding any skill points. They'll just let you keep those. It's just your stats will drop. It also show you with like negative skill points for a bit, but there's nothing wrong with that. It just means you have to level back up to get back to the positives. Then there's level unification, which will force everyone's levels to be equal, which can be useful if you just want to average out everyone's levels. For the most part, I'm not going to be doing that because some characters' benefits is they level faster. Alright, so that takes care of that. Magic Library. This place is always super moldy every time I come. I figured you would be coming any time now. Oh, that voice is from me. It's my library, so it shouldn't be a surprise, right? Incidents don't get much more obvious than that, so I figured it was about time the firefighters of Ginsokia started to act. If you know about it, then just help us somehow already, like giving us some ancient spellbooks or strong magic items. We'd welcome those with open arms. You really don't beat around the bush, do you? Oh, really? Well, fine. Let's see. I'll raise your stats for you. Oh, that's alright. Oh, sorry. Ooh, that's good. Alright, go ahead. Make it big, make it a big one stat. Who said I'd do it for free? Honestly, I'm not taking your money for nothing either. This kind of thing requires a lot of items and medicines. I'm just charging you for the materials. So basically, we pay money here to get stronger. Yes, indeed. So earn all you can and keep the money coming, if you would. So, just like before, you can spend money to level up your stats. You can also level up your affinities. The one thing you can't level up, it seems, or at least not directly, is you can't level up your MP. So MP is actually a very important value in this game because you're very limited. It increases as you level up, but for the most part, the only way you can increase your MP is through items or through the use of certain skills, passive skills. So yeah. But yeah, instead of using skill points like in the previous game, you actually use money, which you get through combat. Now, something else you can do in this game is you can reset your skills. So, you can I believe this allows you to reset all your stats. It'll refund all of your points and money and stuff like that. Well, at the very least, it'll reset your stats and refund everything. I don't know if it refunds your money. I think it does, but I've never done it, so I don't know. Alright. Human village. We're back in the village again, huh? As I thought, the villagers here are more restless than ever, or than usual. Of course, you two are the only ones who can remain calm, or rather be excited about this situation at all. Normal people aren't that strong. And we're the type of humans who solve these incidents. The ways of the world works well if you think about it. Anyway, it's been a long while since I was able to take a casual walk around the village. It sure has changed a lot everywhere. We've walked in the outskirts for quite a bit. There are still lots of food and lodging facilities around here. A long while from you is probably from several decades ago. Really, you have Youkai in your lifespans. Ugh, she realized it. Well, whatever you say. From the looks of the village, there really are lodging facilities popping up everywhere. Well, yeah, with this kind of obvious incident going on, there wouldn't be anyone who'd be taking a faraway trip or anything. What about it? From what I have heard, there are a lot of humans and yokai that have entered the tree. If we continue to explore the tree, perhaps we'll find others who will help your exploration. As our party gets bigger, we need a place to gather everyone around. With the amount of logic facilities in the village, we should be able to get a pretty good price on staying at one for a while. If we make use of that, we should be able to accommodate for quite a number of people. Eh, really? I thought that corn out of this store would be like a kappa out of water. That's really well thought out. I'm seeing you in a new light now. I can't tell if you're complimenting me or insulting me. I guess I'll just treat it as a compliment this time. Though honestly, I got all the gold from Marisa's father and permission to use their good name to get a large discount. But Marisa probably wouldn't stand for this kind of thing. I'll just pretend that it's all thanks to me. So nothing too special here. You can swap party members in and out just like before. You can unequip everybody just like before. The only new thing is the addition of favorites. You can actually make a favorite party setup and register it. And then you can just, instead of having to swap in people, you can just call in your favorite and just do it. Not that big of a deal because usually I stick with the same people throughout the game. Alright, Netery's Bookshop. This is new. Welcome. Welcome. Marisa, you got a paper fan? I don't have one, and there's none for sale either. Guess this wrench will have to do. Are these threats normal for trying to greet my customers courteously? The human village sure is a scary place. They're the only humans who do something like that, so relax. But this is surprising. I've never heard of a kappa workshop in the village before. But of course, I started this shop just now. With a fun-looking tree popping out of nowhere like that, there must be a lot of humans exploring it. For those of them who are not used to fighting, they'll flock to my workshop in search of all sorts of goods. How's that? Perfect plan, right? Very perfect plan. Except there aren't a lot of humans exploring that tree. Eh? You're kidding, right? You're obviously using Reimu and Marisa as your base for human behavior. Normal humans are too scared to get anywhere close to that thing. Now I don't feel like doing anything. I'll just close the shop and go back. Hey, don't worry about it. We're just the right customers for you, so make sure you prepare the best for us. A workshop whose only customers are the dirty, poor Shrine Maiden and her companions. My store is already looking bleak from the first day. Alright. Now, there's going to be one additional thing that Netery can do later on, which is she can craft items from materials you collect in the game. So yes, there's crafting in this game. But for right now, you can sell items, just like before. You can sell for money, and you can buy equipment. You can buy main equipment, and you can buy sub-equipment. It'll be useful later on. Anyway, Keen School. It's nice that we're looking around Keen School, but there's nothing to do here. I could ask what the heck you two are doing here too. Yeah, we're here for some reason. There's nothing interesting going on in a school for you. Or perhaps you want to study. No. I don't want to teach you two either. What do you do here normally? Well, it's a school, so normally I teach here. Otherwise, I thought of compiling a summary on all the monsters inside the Great Tree. It'll be useful if they ever get out of the tree, though I doubt that'll happen. So basically, if we want to look at the bestiary, we can come here. Thank you for that frank summary of what I just went through. That's not the only thing. There's other things. You can look at your achievements here, which can be slightly useful just to keep track of things. There are achievements in this game, and these achievements will give you rewards, which is the main reason why you should do them. In fact, I'm going to be doing one of them very soon, like this, get defeated 12 times. Alright. And can't look at the bestiary because there's nothing in there. Now, I don't know if you have to beat the monster, or if it counts just encountering them. Because it would be nice if you fight a boss for the first time and you get defeated, and then you can look them up on the bestiary. But I don't know if that's how it works or not. Alright, almost done. Great tree, that leads us to the dungeon. Akiu's house. Excuse me, we're coming in, Akiu. Hey, Akiu, you there? Yes, hello there. May I help you? We're thinking of exploring that tree a little from now on, so we're wondering if you have any information to share about it. Aki, do you know anything about that thing? I don't know much, at the very least. It's not something already well known, like the cycle of the number of ghosts increasing every 60 years. I guess we'll have to do some actual legwork to know more about that thing. By the way, I'd be happy to if you can resolve this tree incident too. That thing is blocking the sun's light, and I don't want to catch a cold. So I'll help you help in what little way I can. If that thing keeps growing, the village won't be getting any sunlight at all soon. Please do something about it before that happens. We'll take whatever help you can give. What can you do for us? At the very least, I'll help with what I'm good at. I'll make a record of your explorations. A record? That's it? My exploration records are important, especially in RPGs. What do you mean by that? Who knows? But if you're not satisfied with that, just that, well, fine. I'll give you this too. Obtain special item, treasure chest key. What's this? It's a key to open locked treasure boxes in that tree. Since I can't fight in there, I really have no use for it, for this, so I'll give it to you. Yay, there's a treasure chest. Huh? Now that gets me excited. However, it seems this key disappears after you use it once. Since it's not reusable, please consider your options carefully before using it. It disappears after using it once. How does that even work? Who knows? Right. So we can save our game. Go ahead and save. There we go. And since I'm like 30 minutes in already, I guess I'll go ahead and call this a video. I am the Depressed Eeyore, and this was Labyrinth of Touhou 2. When we come back, we'll actually get into the dungeon, and then we're going to probably torment a certain character. See you guys later.